Hey, what is going on? I'm Cole. I'm here with the most beautiful Nick's Kicks and Comics. How are you doing, Nick?
Whoa. I got chills when you said that.
Yeah, that's
Thank you.
that's what I try to do. That's my goal is to bring chills. Yeah, it's I have the day off because it's President's Day. Steve said that no mail is delivered today because it's
Mm.
President's Day. But when you're a person like me and you just accumulate packages and you just like leave them there for like way too long, like
I That's one thing I cannot understand. Like
well,
if I get mail, it immediately has to be opened.
you want to know what's probably going to boggle your mind?
Hmm.
Like a week ago, I have a CGC package or CBCS package that's literally just sitting there unopened. And I still haven't even gone and logged in and looked at what my grades are either.
That is so alien to me. I have a submission that I'm prepping for CGC, and I'm already trying to check the grades. I haven't even sent it yet.
Yeah, it's weird. I get it, and like, but it's like it's not gonna change it, and I get it. I don't know. It's just like since I've done this, it's just like I've randomly just had random stuff accumulate and just sit there, and now it's there. Oh my gosh.
Like a lot of packages.
I mean, I probably have. So okay, I probably have the entire arc. So there's another comic book shop in my area, and I used to just give a pull list from them to
Mhm.
get every bad idea book. And I was just like, hey, if it ever is an issue, you can either call me or like if it gets to the point where because they do like free shipping if you get over like $100 worth of stuff. So I
Mhm.
was like, you can just run my card, and if it gets to that point, just ship it if it's taking up space or you're upset about it. Well, when I told them that, I also added that Texas Blood, all the variant covers, just so that
Mhm.
I had more stuff on the pull list. And then, so it got to the point where they just started sending me every issue of that Texas Blood variant cover. So I was spending $8 on a variant cover that I could have just easily picked up because they were shipping out every time. And I was just like, ah. But so I have 6 of those probably. And then I probably have other packages, like maybe like 7 or 8 that are just sitting here for a rainy day. I mean,
Unbelievable.
some of it's just stuff that I bought on like Whatnot that it's like, do I need this? Probably not. But like, it's like, so like I have a Scotty Young cover that I'm going to send you. It was $2. It's the one with Bendis on it. It was $2 and Whatnot. And it's like, I don't need that cover, but that is worth, I could sell that easily for $5 to $6.
Mhm.
And if I made a mystery box and I put that in, its value is $5 to $6. So it's like there's certain stuff where I buy that and it's like I don't really need this, so it just sits in a package randomly.
I have a whole room of stuff that I didn't need to buy. It's just the way it is. But, and you know what's funny? You had mentioned that Texas Blood. When I first moved here and I saw that book, I was like, am I obligated to buy this now?
Yeah,
I haven't.
I don't know if you've heard there's this podcast. They kind of do YouTube, but they're mostly podcast based called the Wednesday Poll. And they're really big on Twitter. They kind of do some stuff on Instagram, but they're from Texas and they like reviewed that and they're like, there's like stuff about this that is real and stuff that isn't, but like maybe we're just being too critical because we're from here that like, it isn't like that or whatever. But and
Yeah,
hey, we got Trev here.
Trev will know. Like if I say like the thing I mentioned the other day when you had sent me that reel. Like
Oh yeah.
if I start singing, the stars are bright. Trev is probably standing up right now and singing.
Yeah, Bearded gets mad at me because I get all these ones about Ohio that is just like, here's a gross dessert in Ohio, and it's like mayo with sugar on a
Oh,
sandwich or something, just like all this gross stuff. And I send it to Bearded, and he's like, "This is not how Ohio is. Stop making this seem like a thing." We got Las Cruces from New Mexico. How are you doing, Las Cruces? We got Callie and Jordan Scott. Apparently, in Canada, it's Family Day. It's
oh,
really weird how that works. Like UK has some like altering holidays, which is weird. When I was in UK, it was the only time where the US had more vacation days than the UK, and I was currently working there because it was like 4th of July. We don't get that off when I
mhm.
was in the UK, and there was like 2 other ones that you get off in that general area. But we got your co-host here. Yeah.
Yeah, we made a pretty big breakthrough, and it's weird, but and I consider Iggy and I very close, and you and I speak more than he and I do. And I was thinking about that this morning. I'm like, well, that's odd to me.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we talk a lot on just like it's weird because there's certain people where it's just like, there's certain things that it's like, oh, this is something they'll like. Let's talk about it, right? There's other times where it's like, there are certain people where I feel like, yeah, I don't talk to, but like also like, we're still close too. So yeah, he mentioned that I'm getting close to 1K. Yeah, I was gonna mention later that I'm probably gonna do a push to 1K because I'm over 900 now. I don't really know how that happened. It's mainly because of shorts, but we got Cali Comics. How's it going? Watching Floor Patch Dry and you guys.
which
Why?
which is more exciting.
Yeah, I hope we are slightly more exciting than that. The main reason I did this is I've got some packages. So this one is from You Promised Me Comics. They have a variant out, and I ended up grabbing it. It's for the same book that we have a variant out, which also for everyone that has ordered that, once again, sorry, there was some shipping errors. We were wanted to give out the A and the B cover with that, or the A or the B cover. And unfortunately, it looks like they sent us the variant and not that. And it just doesn't make sense logically to like ship it and then ship you that cover later. So we're still waiting on that. Hopefully we should have them this week and hopefully be out this week. So
Yeah, I got the
this
mail.
is
The mail from Poser. What was it, last week or the week before?
huh?
The mail stating that from Poser last
Yeah,
week
yeah.
or the week before?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. I know that they're kind of working on it. The issue is that they ended up sending it, I think, to somebody else. Also, this is kind of funny. So he sent this, and then apparently it must have been more expensive. So maybe he canceled the thing and sent it in a legal mailer because there's also uh my address is on there's an actual priority mailer like thing on here. I'm not going to show it because I don't really want you guys to have my address. Well, I mean, if you want my address, you can ask me and I'll probably give it to you if I know you are.
Yeah, you guys can just ask me. I'll just give it freely if you want it. So let me know.
Yes. So here's a little Sparks comic sticker. We've got the You Promised Me comic sticker. And I have their link too. So if you guys haven't checked them out, they do a lot of indie comic reviews. They do kind of like a most anticipated list too, but it's mainly all just indie comics.
Mm-hmm.
And this is their Coin of Judas exclusive.
Wow.
Pretty sweet. I think I don't know who the actual artist is, but yeah, that's the one cool thing. Band of Bards, while they ended up having a slight mishap with our shipping, they're a pretty cool indie comic creator because they let people get variants for 50 comics. Like you only need 50, which like, most I know like with Scout and Vault, I think you need 250, which is like, for us just YouTube people, like, if we're not making DJ Links money, buying buying exclusive gets pretty expensive.
Yeah, it sure does. It sure does.
Where it's like, and they're still cheap, but yeah, buying, even if you're getting them at $5 a pop and you're spending, you're getting 250, that's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
That's,
Yeah, and in addition to sponsoring cons,
yeah,
and running your own show, and I need that guy's life.
So, I definitely didn't even do a good job at like promoting this because I'm terrible at that thing. So also this is your address, so I'll flip it that way. This is something that you sent me, and that's why I wanted to invite you on here because I thought, hey, I was gonna finally open this. This has been sitting here. So if you guys watch my goals video for 2022, there was a comic that I had on there that I was like, I'm probably not going to get this because the price of this comic is going to make it unobtainable for me because it's like my lead. Pretty much, I want to get all the champions' first appearances. And I was like, this is the one that I don't necessarily care that much about, but it was something that I wanted to get. And you put it up for a price that I thought was very fair. And it was something that I really wanted to get. So I was like, hey, I definitely can't buy this now. But if you want to set this aside for me, I'll eventually pay you. And it probably took me 5 months because I kind of forgot about it for a second. And then Christmas happened. And then I was like, hey, remember that book? I finally want it. So here it is. We've got this amazing Fantasy 15 in a 9.0 with white pages. And yeah, this is the first appearance of Amadeus Cho, who is Hulk. I don't know what Hulk he goes by, but I forgot what it is. But anyway, he's a character, like I said, and honestly, I mean, you've probably looked at this way more than I have, and I guess I could probably look at the creators now. Man, like that's the kind of thing. I guess there's some stuff down there in the corner, and there's okay, yeah, maybe I see it now, but it's a good comic, and I mean, I don't really care. This is one that I just kind of wanted to get. And yeah, I figure. So thank you for hooking me up with that.
No, thank you. Yeah, it's like when somebody mentions something like circumstances or Comic Vet has mentioned something is killing the children. I literally have a whole short box full of back issues that I could probably sell, but they're like, you know what, I need that issue, and I'll just hold on to it,
Yeah.
even though I really should be selling them now.
We got Perry Gaming. How's it going, Perry? Yeah, Amadeus Chodel. And then Amadeus. Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully we didn't get copyright strike for saying that.
Yeah, it's weird, and you hear it being sung, don't you?
Yeah.
Rock me Amadeus.
Yeah, and then you had mentioned that you threw in some Batman stuff in here, so we'll see what's in the box. I don't know. I mean, that's one of my goals always is just collecting Batman Volume 1.
Mhm.
It's one of those things where like, so my coworker has this goal of there's a baseball set that he's trying to collect, and it's like he's like, I don't think that I'll ever get this goal. And I was like, it is very obtainable for you to get that set of baseball cards.
Mhm.
But like me getting all like, there's no way that I'm ever going to get a Batman 1
No.
unless somehow I walk into a building that is condemned and there's a Batman 1 sitting there and I can somehow just steal it.
Or you have a next door neighbor who's 97 who passes away. And,
Yeah.
oh, you like
Weirdly
comic
left.
books?
Here's a Batman 1. Like,
Yeah.
I remember when Batman wasn't even on Batman. Like, cool, thanks, dude. This is sweet. I'm glad that I was your neighbor.
Yeah, and one of the LCSs by me is owned by a pretty big wig in the comic industry. He's the one who's facilitated the deal for Nicolas Cage when he sold his comics, for Kiss when they sold their comics, and he's got a Batman 1, an Action 1, and a Tech 27 in 9.6.
Holy hell.
And he's got them up. He's got an eBay store. He's got them up for, I think, 3.25 million
Each?
each.
That's kind of crazy to think that they're all like the same exact price.
Yeah, he's never had them in the store, but I've been in that store where he's got an Amazing Fantasy 15 in. I think it was a 1.5, a whole bunch of big books that you never really see unless it's behind vaults.
Yeah.
And I've actually held them, and it's just like a whole different kind of. Your hands get sweaty. It's like a whole different level when you're in the presence of that book, and I don't know why it is that way, but it's just, yeah, I'll never have this.
Yeah, the my comic shop bought a comic collection, and one of the comics was a Hulk 181. And he was like, I was like, oh, what do you have that priced at? And he was like, oh, we're just gonna do an auction because this is like the one book where it's like it's silent. Just give me your offer and we'll get, the most. He's like, I just don't want like people, I don't want people to be mad because I put it up and people can't come on a Saturday, right? This is a book that I've had, hundreds of people ask me about that are regulars here. So like, this is where you want it. This is what we say that we think the opening price should be. And if you want to pay more than that, you can, and you have a chance, but if there's multiple people at the same price, they were just going to like do a coin toss or whatever. Right.
Yeah.
And, but it was funny because I was just asking, he was like, well, do you want to hold it? And I was like, I don't need to hold it. He's like, you should just hold it. Cause like, he's like, I've never seen this book. This is the first time it's been in my collection and I've been collecting for forever. So he's like, you should just hold it and take a picture of it if you want. So I took a picture and sent it to my wife. I think I just bought this because it's got $4,000 on it.
Yeah, you know what too? I think that 181, and I can't recollect. I think I may have had one back in my previous iterations.
Yeah.
But it didn't have the Marvel value stamp. And I remember selling it, I think. And that's one of the books I think I might want again. I don't have the feeling to collect the stuff that I had before, like these major keys. So now I just collect stuff that makes me happy. Hence all the Scotty Young stuff. But that I think is one of those ones that I want again. But it's
there's like pretty much any Batman key is something that I want to have. Will I get them? Probably not, but I also don't care about the condition. But yeah, like I think that was one that was kind of a weird one to price too, because I want to say it was like a 4 or 5, but it had the Marvel value stamp. So it's kind of like this like weird thing where it's a very like weird, like it was a loved copy, but like also it was fully intact. So it's that weird thing where it's like, who knows? But let's show these off. We got Batman at 537. This is like when he was in the weird pointy ear phase, which this
is that
might be pretty late in it.
Norm Grayfogle doing the art? Maybe I think
It definitely doesn't have a cover artist signature, so I do not know. But I think that was he the guy that did those big ears? That was like
Yeah,
the big thing,
weird.
like late 400s and stuff. Like that's why people hate Nightfall. I love these covers, and this is in that Brubaker run. 602. We got 604. Yeah, all these ones have this weird like they changed that to the Batman logo.
The old school mask.
Yeah. 606. Who's the guy that this is Deadshot, right?
Mm-hmm.
I always get him confused with that other guy. Oh, here he is again, but he's a little bit more beat up. Looks like Batman got the upper hand. And also maybe that prisoner that he hung up shot him in the head.
Maybe. Oh, yeah. Kelly Jones also. Yeah.
Oh, 615. I think this is in the Hush run.
Yes.
But yeah, I think I have most of the major Hush stuff, just not like the other random stuff. 616 also Hush. Oh, and I love these ones too from that Azzarello run. 625. They're all like this, where it's kind of like I don't know, like pastel-y almost.
Now, are you collecting variants also, or you just want cover A's of that run?
So like that's the thing. If I come across like that's the thing. Yeah, like if I come across like anything for $3, I'll probably just buy, right? So like I have like there was that pretty it's not it's kind of a key, but it's like what's his name? When Jason Todd was Robin, there's an issue where he hangs a guy over like a guardrail and maybe he drops him even. And
So
like I have the second cover of that. Like they're the second print of that because that apparently was something pretty big. Looks like we got Brian in the house. We also got Rob, which also funny thing, Comic Tom. Somebody is pretending to be Comic Tom over on Rob's channel and keeps.
I got that one too.
Well, they got me, and then I sent it to Rob last night, and they got me again this morning. They redid it. They went back at it, and I was just like, Comic Tom, what's going on? I almost sent something to Comic Tom like, hey, also we got Darren Smith. Sorry I missed you guys. It looks like a ton of people came in while we were just talking about Batman covers. So sorry if I missed you guys. But yeah, it was one of those things where it's like, yeah, that happened very randomly there, where it was just like, what the heck? Also, yeah, because
you're so used to winning from them that it probably is a message from Comic Tom.
Well, so I had one from Bueller was the first one that I had it on, and like I looked at it and it was like, so when you see certain people that have those what am I trying to say? Certain people have that thing where it's stream bot or whatever. So it said comics with Bueller stream bot. And it said, hey, you won the giveaway for commenting on this video. So I like took a picture of it. I'm like, I'm 95% sure this isn't real, but it says stream bot. So I just figured I'd talk to you, but I assume it's not real. And he was like, yeah, that's definitely not. But like that was the first person that I saw. So Rob's a bigwig now, I've only seen it. I mean, he's got Comic Tom pretending to give giveaways in his videos. So, and we've got.
I can only aspire. Hopefully one day.
Welcome, officially unofficial geek. How are you doing? So one of the things, and I figured I was going to try and do this part short because this is the unboxing part, and we can just get to randomly talking after that. But I have a giveaway from last week. The last week's giveaway was you had to talk about a book that you were interested in. I have no idea how many views that has, so I'll just shuffle it that many times. There is a random space here, so if that one wins, we'll just remove it and respin it. Sometimes that happens, and I can't fix it for some reason. So let's see.
I have to win this one, don't I?
Oh my gosh, is the blank spot gonna win? Yeah. We removed the blank spot. We'll shuffle it 2 more times for that, and now we're gonna give it a spin.
Can you say now that it's gonna land on mine so it does that?
If it lands on Nick's.
Yes. Oh no, wrong Nick. Never enough Nicks.
Yeah, never enough. So we got Zach collecting. He said, so that was the thing. I asked about books and I said, some people don't read comics that watch these videos. So if you read a book or even a TV show, let me know. And he said there's a J. Edgar Hoover biography that he is currently reading. So I personally don't like reading biographies because I just fall asleep. I usually audiobook biographies because usually biographies have like very entertaining people doing them. So I've listened to Gucci Mane and Rick Ross both have biographies that are worded by like the person that does the audiobook is like a guy from Hamilton. But dude, it made me so mad because I listened to Gucci Mane's and the whole time I'm listening to it, I was like, man, this guy's music has to be so good, and it is awful. And if you're a Gucci Mane fan, I'm very sorry for you, but I don't know, man. Like I like hip hop, but he is definitely hip hop that I'm not into. Like, I liked him in like he's a good person to be on somebody else's song.
Yeah, yeah. Spotlight.
Like even 50 Cent, I think like he could do a hook better than most other rappers could for like a very long period of time, but I didn't like a lot of his solo stuff.
Yeah, I've been trying to associate myself nowadays with some of the newer hip hop stuff, and it just doesn't stick with me.
Yeah, yeah, and it's hard. Like, I don't know. Like, it was funny. Somebody made a post once that was like, anyone that doesn't like Travis Scott is probably just old. And I was like, we're like loosely the same age, but I also don't really like Travis Scott.
I hear his concerts are amazing, but
I've been to a Travis Scott concert and I
have you?
didn't like it. Well, he opened for The Weeknd. I mean, it was fine. It was entertaining, but also like we laughed and went outside for a little bit.
No.
Because it's like, I don't know, how many of this can you really take? So I'm gonna pick some random books out of this thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is what Zach's gonna win. Nick, you got a question you want to ask people out there for the giveaway for this month or this week?
Yeah. What do you think is the best opening line of any comic book you've ever read?
Ooh, that is a great one. Speaking of opening lines of a comic book, this is definitely not an opening line, but the first thing written in Watchmen is my birthday. My actual birthday.
I should know this.
It just says journal entry and then my birthday. And you were actually asked that question on DJ Link. So I said, I specifically know this because it's weird because I remember reading Watchmen like 4 years ago for the first time or maybe 5 at this point. Actually, that's a lie. It was 8 years ago at this point, but that seems like 4 years ago. And I was like, that's my birthday. That's pretty sweet. Like legitimate birthday day I was born. For me, it's all about female hip hop. So we definitely listened to a Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion song because my son walked into the room with a mop and I said, let's play some WAP.
Yeah.
And it was a weird song, but yeah, here. So this is it. So if you care when my birthday is, that's when it is. But if you want to know how actually old I am, it is the date in the book. So this is what he won. We got I don't know what this says, but this is a ash can of a Source Point Press book. So we got Dick Gently's Holistic Detective Agency, which this was actually a show for a while with Elijah Wood, I think, played him. We've got City of Others. This is a Dark Horse comic, issue number 1. We got Pulp Tales, issue number 1. This is from Boom Comics, and this is like a Boom comic that was like before I even heard of them. And then some John Cena action. So congratulations, Zach. I'll have those off to you at some point during this week. I meant to add some extra books to that, but I didn't. One of which is the new Wesley Snipes book.
How is that?
Did you read it?
I have not. I had 2 people recommend it to me, and for some reason, I just can't bring myself to buy it.
All right, I'm going to say something, and it might maybe rub certain people the wrong way. This book is okay. I went on record saying that Ninja Funk is loosely the worst book that I read of 2022, and I'll stand by that. And I read Damage Control number 1, which I think most people have agreed was pretty awful. Like and that was the thing. I went into it wanting to like it because I kind of like, JPG is a good dude. I'm kind of bummed that he switched up how that Spider-Man booth does stuff, but hey, that is probably his prerogative, and it makes sense for him to do that because he's probably making way more money doing his stuff on Whatnot than he was on like whatever his Monday thing was, right? Oh yeah, sorry. So unofficially, so you can just put that in the comment afterwards. If you leave it in the live chat, I definitely will not see it. Unfortunately, like that's a bad thing about these. But yeah, if you leave it in the comments afterwards, next week we'll do the same thing that I did with the wheel, and that'll go in there. This book was definitely better than Ninja Funk, but I don't think that I'm going to get issue number 2. The hard thing about everything that I've read, and granted, I've read 2 books from Whatnot Publishing. Everyone says this is currently the best one, The Exiled, and that Ninja Funk is probably the worst one. The art on it was fine. The lettering. So I posted, I'm in a Discord with a lot of comic creators, and I posted the lettering because somebody said they had the worst lettering ever. And I was like, I don't get what's bad about this lettering. And then I got trained in what makes good lettering and bad lettering in this thing. So the word bubbles, like So if this is me, instead of having the tail point to me, it points the other direction, right?
Ugh.
Oh, Quested. I've heard good things about Quested. There was a lot of that. It just kind of looks like the art was good, but it looked like the art was like 480
Mm.
and the like lettering was 720. So it definitely didn't look like those didn't jive together. And I don't know if that was just like a rushing thing. The guy who wrote the script did the lettering. So I don't know if that was a thing, if he normally letters or not, but overall, I mean, this seemed very, if you did not like Berserker, this seems like you probably definitely won't like this. Because
Oh.
that was the thing. Like Berserker, the big thing about Berserker is it's like there were times in Berserker I really liked it. Matt Kindt, I'll go on the record of saying, is one of my favorite comic book writers, but
Mm.
like the Keanu Reeves stuff, you could kind of tell this is Keanu Reeves mindless action stuff. Like it wasn't bad, but it like I thought that book was going to be way better than it was, and maybe that's just on myself for that. But
I honestly, that book started coming out again when I first started collecting again, and I cannot wait for it to end because I
yeah,
feel obligated to buy every single issue.
yeah, but and like that's the thing. I know so many people were like going in there and going so hard on it, and it's
Oh
like that's that's fine. And but like also it's like I mean to be fair, people used to ask me like 4 or 5 years ago. I remember the big thing people were asking: should I be buying these Spawn #1s out of dollar bins? And I was like, why would you invest money in Spawn? That's the
yeah.
#1 most purchased book. And now people are selling 9.8 graded copies of Spawn for $100 to $150. So I'm sorry that I gave you some bad advice, but logically speaking, at the time, the advice I was giving you was sound. And you could
You
probably still find Spawn #1 in dollar bins, right?
Yeah, you never know. Like that book hurt me to pay $30 for it again when I had probably 15 copies the day it dropped.
Yeah.
It hurts. But yeah, the past 2 years in comics, you really can't. Nobody could have predicted.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the crazy thing. Like, I think Spawn also changed just because too with COVID, so many people remembered Spawn, right? Those 90 books. And Spawn's the one that kind of had like has lasting energy, right? What's going on? We got TM joining here. I think I might have missed Sensei Domino, so sorry if I miss you. And also Three Good Nerds. I'm not sure if I said hello to you guys. We had a lot of people jump in here, so thank you all for hanging out with us on this Monday. Happy President's Day.
Happy Family Day.
Yeah, and for those, yeah, if for all the Canadians like Travis, happy Family Day. Oh, and we got Dale. I don't even know that I mentioned Dale, and I'm sorry, Dale. You're a great person, and I should have made it. And also, I should off some Batman books. Bring back Batman. Also, cousin Sven can come too, but preferably Batman.
Hmm.
Maybe I'm of a minority, maybe on that one, but
No, Dale's not around enough, in my
yeah.
opinion.
So yeah, thank you for hanging out with us. And yeah, so yeah, I don't know. It's hard. I don't know. Maybe, dude, I'm gonna throw that for. I was gonna throw that in this box. I'll send that issue to you in the box of stuff that I have, and I'd like to hear your take on it because maybe I'm overreacting. I don't love action comics. Like, there's very few action comics that like get me going.
Mhm.
Like, I really like Firepower, and a lot of people hate Firepower because it's like Firepower takes 4 minutes to read an issue,
Yeah, that's
but
very.
it's mindless it's mindless action that is done well. It's just a quick read. You don't get your bang for your buck for that book at all. But like, I read a lot of serious, depressing comics. And sometimes when I just read a Jeff Lemire issue and I feel like I want to cry, sometimes just maybe read in some Firepower afterwards. It's like, hey, you know what? And there's some family stuff there. So maybe that even makes me cry a
Mhm.
little bit too. We got Kenneth Bird. What's going on, Kenneth? But yeah, I don't know. It's one of those books where I think that too, I don't know. It just seems like from my general opinion about Whatnot as a publisher, they're trying to push stuff out as quickly as possible. And maybe they're cutting some corners to do so. And I would say too, and maybe this is me being stereotyping a little bit, but I would guess that the people that are buying a lot of the Whatnot books are buying them for the multiple variant covers and buying them not for the story. And not that that's bad. If that's how you want to collect, that's how you want to collect.
For me, coming in again, that's what caught me, and I really tried not to do that anymore, and I guess that's why I haven't been up on Ninja Funk. But when I first came in, that's all I did was buy covers,
Yeah.
and it kind of leaves you feel empty inside after a while because you just buy them once, look at them once, and file them away. And I'm trying not to do that again. I mean, a lot of those Ninja Funk 1 covers were awesome.
Yeah, like the John Jang one was sweet. I thought
Mhm.
about buying that, but I was like, this is such an awful book that I don't even want it. So yeah, so to go back to your opening line question, do you have one, Nick?
There is. I
You're gonna
can't
have to do your
remember.
if you wanna know Nick's, make sure you come back, check out the comment section. He's gonna have his answer in here. Maybe he'll win next week, and we'll see what his answer is.
I can't remember the specific book, but it had something to do with our story starts on a hot summer night in Brooklyn, and I cannot remember what the book was.
Oh, is that, that Cocaine Dreams book from Behemoth?
No, no,
No,
I think
okay.
it was a little more mainstream than that one, but I can't remember.
Trying to think of books that took place in Brooklyn. Oh,
Hey,
also, one book because you liked a lot of the '90s superhero stuff, right?
mhm.
I would highly recommend checking out this week Local Man #1 from Tim Seeley and Tony Fleece. It is so the concept, I read the review copy of it. So the concept of this book is that there's this team and they're called like Gen 3. So loosely a Gen 13 ripoff, right?
Mhm.
But it's about this team and there's one of these guys and he does something. They don't even let you know what he does, but he gets kicked off the team and he has to go live in his parents' basement. But it's something where his parents are like talking crap about him to
Oh,
his face at like dinner, right? So you've just got this like broken man that's part of this group, but it also deals with like one of the bad guys comes back to his hometown and tries to fight him and he ends up like doing stuff that apparently he can no longer do because he signed a contract when he left the team. Like and it's just like weird stuff like that. Like what the heck? Like I don't no, not local.
Local Man. Yes.
But yeah, I think that that book might be something that's pretty like I don't know, there's been a lot of these books where it's kind of like this slightly meta thing. I think that this book will like appeal to people that like a slice of life book, but also
Mm.
like this new style of hero book, right? Like Vanish, I think was pretty well done. I mean, it's not completed yet, but I've enjoyed what I've seen from Vanish so far.
Surprisingly, and I thought that was just gonna be a cover buy in the beginning, like this overhyped book, but I really enjoy that book.
Yeah, like I don't know. That's the thing. Donny Cates has usually done. I think Donny Cates and Scott Snyder have a similar writing style where they do these things sometimes that are so big and like some of the times they don't land. And when they don't land, people just straight up hate it. And I get it. But like, and you know, sometimes like I don't always need like the biggest book ever, right? Like Batman doesn't have to be doing crazy stuff. Sometimes Batman could just go like find some robbers and you get to see him be cool against people that like are way out of their league, right? That's kind
Mhm.
of cool to see and written, but people don't do that anymore because everyone wants big.
Well, I mean, that's the essence of Batman, right? Beating up people in the alley. So
Yeah,
you gotta see that every now and again.
but yeah, I don't and that's the thing. So I mean, I don't even know. So you definitely mentioned or I said Watchmen. I don't know that that would be my best opening line. I'll probably not even really know until then. I'll probably have to look at some of my favorite books. I want to say Saga has an amazing opening line.
You know, people say saga, and that's all I can think about are two TV heads having sex. So I'm kind of like, doesn't jive well with me.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, there's that is a thing. I gave Saga to my brother. My brother read all of Walking Dead, and he was like, "Would I like other comics?" And I gave him Saga, and his like response was, "This book has way too many penises."
Yes.
And I was like, "Okay." Also,
And
yeah,
my lovely co-host Ignacio would never say there's enough dicks. So,
yeah.
but
He says space racism,
yeah.
which is like loosely what that is. It's Romeo and Juliet in space.
Yeah, yeah. Gen 13, it's funny that you mentioned that too. And I had come across like digging through stacks, I found that they had the first blank cover meant for sketching.
Oh, it was Gen 13?
It was a Gen 13 book.
I
Gen 13,
probably
yeah.
knew that if it's in Key Collector Guide, just because I love blank sketches
Mhm.
covers, because I just have so many of them.
Yeah, I'm not the artist either, so
Yeah. Well, I just get them so that I can send them to other people to put cool stuff on them. Like, or like, yeah, like I don't know. One of the things I've been doing now is when my daughter, she'll go to Comic Cons with me. I'll let her put on one, send it into CBCS. They'll grade it as art. You know, now I have a collection of things and memories for my daughter that are cool. Like, hey, the cover that she picked is probably weird because she picked the book Follow Me Into the Darkness, which is very, like, not for kids, but whatever. I let her draw a picture on it, and, you know, like, even Rain is, like, a book about needles falling from the sky and killing people, but she drew a cover of that, and maybe someday we'll get some more appropriate ones for her, but
just what she wants
yeah.
now.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's funny you mentioned, like, you're not doing cover buys now. Since I've switched to, like, DC Ultra, that's, like, one of the things that I have been doing now is just getting, you know, like, cause like, especially, like, that's the thing, like, David Nakayama is doing tons of covers now for, like, DC books, and I used to always get the A cover, but,
Mhm.
like, you know, with the cover challenge the Beard and I do, it's cool to sometimes just buy some of those, so it's like, "Hey, I've cut my pull list down so much, I can afford to buy a $5 variant cover here and there." Like, whenever John Jang has one, I'll usually grab it. Um, you know, Art Germ is one that I usually grab, but I was grabbing Art Germs pre all of
Yeah,
those.
those are really nice, and like I said, for me, it's always gotta be the Scotty. Nakayama has been knocking it out of the park lately. Who was it that Ivan Tao
Yeah.
nowadays is like incredible, incredible. But circling back to what we had mentioned before, I had asked you about the Batman run. If you're just going to do cover A's for all of them, or you're going to try to be a completionist and get all the covers.
It's too hard to get all the covers, but I'm not getting all the covers, right?
Mhm.
Like, if I can get them, like, so that's the thing. It's like, especially with the keys, I'm definitely not getting all of those covers, right? But like, yeah, like that's the thing. For what's that? It's like 423. It's the Todd McFarlane cover where
Oh
Batman's
yeah,
got the
yeah.
crazy cape. I've got a third print of that, and that's fine for right now. Like, and that's what I do a lot, right? If I can get, so I've got a few of these where it's like I have the Toys R Us copy or the Pizza Hut copy of these books, right? They're not the main book, but that's fine. Unless it's something that I'm actively going after, that's good enough for me for right now, right?
Yeah, that 423 is just insane.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. I had a buddy that was randomly like, I need to sell money. I'm getting married. And that was one of the books that he had. And I want to say that I stole it from him. I mean, it was a third print. I would probably say it's a 9.2, and I think he sold it to me for like $30.
Yeah, I mean, I sold a 9.6 slabbed for 300 plus, I think. But that's in the boom.
Yeah. Yeah. What's going on, Steven? Yeah, no one does out Pizza the Hut.
Breadsticks.
Yeah, I do. I've always loved those breadsticks. That was a weird thing. My dad used to, I don't know. This seems like a really weird thing. I think everyone in my family liked different kinds of pizza growing up.
Mhm.
So we got a lot of Pizza Hut because you could get the single pizzas. So like I could get pepperoni, my dad could get deluxe, and my mom could get meat lovers or however it went, you know?
Yeah, and but that's a very heavy on the stomach kind of thing. And
Yeah.
pizza, I can eat probably 3 times a day, but not that. That's pretty heavy.
Yeah, we do Friday night pizza night.
Mhm.
If we're getting a brand name pizza, it's usually Little Caesars only because it's my daughter's favorite and
Uh,
they're generally the cheapest.
yeah, that's they're also the worst.
Dude, so I used to think that. And now I've gone to them. The only thing is their sauce sometimes is way too sweet. But like the more that I eat it, the less I feel like it is. So I don't know. But I used to hate Little Caesars. Like we'd go to a party and there'd be free Little Caesars and I would not eat it even though I was hungry. Hate Little Caesars. And now it's like to the point where like so many people were like, I think you should give it a try. It's gotten better.
Yeah, and then again, I never get anything but the little $5 pie anyway. So
Yeah, and that's the thing now, especially with COVID, things got a little bit like now I just order from the app. So they freshly make you it. Even if you get a $5
mm,
one, they'll make you a fresh one because you
mm,
pre-ordered it, right? They're going to keep those other ones. They're telling you that it's going to take 20 minutes to make it. So they'll make you a fresh one and you'll get a fresh one. And I think that might be the game changer, right?
mm,
Yeah, and yeah, crazy bread is good. Pizza's kind of trash, but yeah, I mean, from the
mm,
90s was the best, Steve says. But yeah, like, because I remember I used to have this friend growing up, his mom, so he had a single mom and he had three brothers.
mm.
and they were all 2 years apart. So like when we were seniors, it was 18, 16, 14, and 12. When Little Caesars did those $5 pizzas, I want to say she would get 20 of them. Just like, and 3 of them would be gone that night.
Oh yeah.
Put them in, here's random, like, you guys are having this for lunch for a week. And like, and they'd freeze some of them just because it was just, like, boys eating just trash food. I remember once I was over there and she got like Taco Bell. And like, granted, there were a few friends over, but yeah, it was like and this was, early 2000s, like a $75 Taco Bell order, which seemed like insane to me. Like at that point, you could go to Taco Bell, order half the menu for $12.37.
Yeah, but nowadays, you get a meal. One meal for Taco Bell is like $15 now.
Yeah, dude, that's a bummer. Taco Bell used to be my go-to. It doesn't. I'm getting old enough too, where it doesn't sit as well as it used to.
That's why you can get a $75, 400 taco order from that place, but you're going to be paying like a $1,000 plumbing bill afterwards. So.
Yeah, so it's just like sometimes I've got to like that was the thing. I used to all my coworkers sometimes they love Chinese buffet, and I can't do buffet anymore. I need quantity. I need quality over quantity now,
especially with Chinese food.
Yeah, because we have one really good one down the road, and then we have another one that's a buffet, and everyone wants to do the buffet, and I'm like, last time I went there, I ended up throwing up at like 10 that night. Like I was doing something with my son, and like I started or no, it was like 8. Yeah, I was doing something. I started laughing, and then I just ran to the bathroom. My wife's like, "What happened?" I was like, "I just puked in my mouth." This is great conversation for people right before lunch.
Yeah, I'll highlight Brian's comment about New York pizza. There's definitely that. Like if you say you're eating Domino's in New York, you probably get beat up. 15 people probably run through the front door and beat you up just for saying that stuff. But there are always places that when I go back that I have to visit just because it's that good. Fortunately, a lot of them haven't changed, but yeah, it's religion there in New York. So,
did you watch The Office at all?
Between that on Thursday night and Lost on Wednesday night, that really made me a TV guy.
Yeah. So one of my favorite scenes from that is when Michael's in New York and he's like, "Got to get me a piece of Chicago pie," and he goes to like a Sbarro's or whatever. Like, sweet.
Funny enough, Sbarro's started in Brooklyn.
Yeah. And, so I think they technically are, but it's like, no one actually considers that now. I know.
No. And I used to live about 5 blocks from the original Sbarro's. In fact, the old lady you used to see as the figurehead for that company used to serve chicken parmesan out of that store. That's until wild. she died probably like when she was in her 90s, but it was one of those good stories I remember.
The pizza place we go to, the guy will randomly make himself lunch, but also like double whatever, like he'll make like a giant order of whatever he's making because it's like loosely like family meal or whatever for everyone, but then he'll sell it for like $5. So he'll just randomly have this random stuff there. It's so weird. I've gone to I go to we usually get it most Fridays, right? We probably switch it up a little bit, but we probably go there one out of every 2 Fridays. And sometimes one day he was just like, "Hey, do you like dill dips?" And I was like, "No, but my wife does." He's like, "Oh, I made a bunch of this. If you want to take some, here it is." And like, just here's some random stuff I made. Like my wife, when I came home, we got it on Saturday because she was hanging out with a friend Friday night. And she was like, "Did he give you anything random today?" Nope.
Yeah, and that usually winds up being the best stuff too, isn't it?
Yeah, because I know like it's right by Nick from Comic Burrito where he works. It's in the same like strip mall there. So he always goes there for lunch and he's like, "Oh dude, the lunch is so good today." And I'm always like at work and I'm like, I'm not driving 15 minutes to get a cheap lunch because
it costs you more in gas.
Yeah. But I don't. So I know when my wife and I were in New York, we were hanging out in Chelsea is where our place was. And I just like Googled like best slice near here. And like, that's like such a crazy thing to like Google. Because the answer is so different depending on who's actually answering that. So then I tried to find people where I had to specifically look who actually lived in New York and who was visiting, because I think that's almost a different thing, right? Where like some people, I think like, because even Chicago, I don't like Chicago pizza as much as like a New York style pizza, but like that's a thing where like my brother-in-law like lived there his whole life, and he'll like tell you this is the best spot, where like other people are like this is the best spot, but it's just like what people know, right?
It's so subjective. Like one of the most famous places in Brooklyn is called place is called L&V Spumoni Gardens. And their claim to fame is the square pie. But what's different is they put the cheese under the sauce. I guess kind of like Chicago style. People rave about this place. That's what they say the go-to is, and I hate it. I hate it. They even have like
Is it thin crust though?
no.
Okay.
It's usually like those slices are usually like that thick. Now, if you can say for a phone size, it's probably like an inch thick.
Oh
But
yeah, and speaking. Oh, sorry, keep going. 22's here. I was just gonna say he's dropping. I think this Wednesday. Quote me if I'm wrong. He's gonna do his 500 subscriber giveaway, and I'll be giving away a random slab on that giveaway. So hey, stop over there. You could vote on it in a video that I made at one point in time for a VR for his 500 sub fund. So if you want to find that video and go vote for it, you can. One is the Catwoman Lone Cub book. She's like pushing a kid in the stroller. It's based off Lone Wolf and Cub. And then there's a Gamora #1, and I think Something is Killing the Children that maybe I won from you in a mystery box. That seems to be the winner right now. I think it's an 8th print. Yeah.
Yeah, so many. I mean, Deuce is one of my favorite people. His comic stuff is amazing, but for what really glues my eyes to his stuff is when he laughs.
Yeah.
Like the dynamic between him and his wife is really must see YouTube. So check out Deuce, people.
What we got to do is we got to get him and Roscoe together, and we need a bunch of funny people just telling jokes, and then have the two of them just laugh together.
Yes, that sounds good. Now, let's make that happen.
We'll call it the laugh track.
There you go. Shows.
I'll only take 5 cents per stream. You guys do.
Yeah, I mean the way everybody's growing to 1,000 nowadays, the money should be flowing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, depending on how it goes. The crazy thing, I don't know if you've noticed this, since they've added like short, you can be monetized off of shorts and not actual view hours. Have you seen what you have to do for shorts? I want to say it's 8 million, or no, it's 10 million views in 90 days on shorts.
Wow.
But that being said,
I've seen a few of those shorts, like even a few of mine, the ones that I did, I didn't think 2, 4, 5,000 views in a couple days.
Yeah.
So
I think my biggest one is like 50,000 views, and it's just 4 seconds of action figures. But yeah. But like then you look at people like big accounts, right? They're doing videos that are they're like, yeah, you say 10 million is insane, and I agree with you. It is insane, but when you actually think about it, you look at people creating shorts, there are people that are getting 2.6 million on a short that they're probably saying isn't that good, right? So I mean, it kind of is just how the thing is. It's kind of like, 4,000 watch hours, right? Some people are like, that's super easy, it didn't take me at all, and then there's other people grinding it out. I think the hard thing too is that if you're not making shorts, you're not getting put in the short feed, you're not getting the stuff, right? And it's the same thing with like watch hours, right? If like all you do is make 5-minute videos, it's super hard to get to that, like, because that's loosely like most of my videos are under 15 minutes, and I've been starting to do lives, but if you don't do like a long stream video, it's really hard to rack up some of those hours, right? Like, just, I mean, granted, because I mean, what, like a 5-minute video, you need almost millions of views on to get to 4,000 hours or whatever. Probably not millions, but hundreds or thousands, but
yeah, like those long hangouts seem to be the money maker there too.
Yeah, like there's that card channel Diamond Princess. She had one night that went insane, and she went, I think, about 3 hours, and she was averaging 1,000 people in her stream. Like, she literally hit a watch hours probably in that 3-hour stream, which is like loosely insane to think about. But yeah,
she's doing it though multiple times a week, right?
Yeah. So she doesn't normally she gets 100, which still 100 people in a live stream is pretty, like 50 to 100 is good, right? But collectively casually. So the difference is, so if you are monetized from watch hours, you don't have to you can still you can pay off a short. You don't have to have 10 million to get paid off of shorts. It's just if you don't have any long form videos and you're only doing shorts, you have to have 10 million views in 90 days. The only question I wonder is if you hit it once, I wonder if every 90 days you have to be at that, or once you hit it, you're just there forever.
Well, it's probably got to be a certain amount of time, and I guess 90 days is the thing, because like you need 4,000 every year,
right? But I'm wondering if, like, so let's say you had one crazy video that hit 2,000 watch hours and that one drops off. Do you just not become monetized anymore? That's just a question I don't know.
We'll ask you again in a couple weeks.
I would assume that that's a thing that doesn't happen just because there's certain people that I've seen like still have a thing that you can join and they haven't made videos in months, right? So it probably seems very unlikely that they're getting those watch hours, but I could be wrong.
Well, you're my go-to for all the YouTube advice anyway, so you let me know.
Well, I definitely have a long way to go, probably still, but I'll let you know when I get there. I'll just probably ask Mark and have him tell me so that he can tell you the answer to that. But I don't think he's losing watch hours unless he goes on a rant about something that people don't like.
Yeah, which is always possible.
Yeah, like Ezra Miller.
Yeah, I don't know that flashy. Have you seen Ant-Man already?
I have not. I mean, I'm going to watch it when it comes out on Disney Plus. I have 2 kids and a wife that likes to spend time with me, so it's going to be very hard. I can usually convince her to go to the DC movies, although she did want to go see Black Panther over Black Adam. I think it's just Black Panther is more of a movie that is talked about amongst people that aren't comic book fans.
Yeah.
And she saw Black Panther 1, so.
Oh.
Of the like 10 Marvel movies. We started in early COVID watching all of them, and then we got to like Iron Man 2. And she was like, I don't think I like these movies.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, we can skip Iron Man 3 and we'll skip the Hulk.
Some of those are hard stops for casual viewers.
Yeah, where it's just like, I don't know. And hey, what's going on, Actual Dracula? How are you doing? Yeah, where it's just, there's certain stuff with the early MCU where it's like, even me, I didn't actually get into. I think the first Marvel movie that I actually saw was Guardians of the Galaxy.
Wow.
Just because like my mom had this weird I probably saw Incredible Hulk just because I'm a weirdo and I had a roommate that loved that. But like, yeah, like it was one of those things. I've always been more of a DC fan. So like when there was a Batman movie, I'd go and see it, right? But like I was like, I don't really like Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
And then I mean, I've gone back and I've seen them all now, but it's like, I don't think I've seen Iron Man 3.
Yeah, don't.
I technically watched Thor 2, but I would say that I was probably on Instagram the entire time, or like, or playing like Marvel Snap, which wasn't a game I played at the time, but loosely I was playing a game on my phone the whole time and like making it through this movie.
Yeah, and I guess that being an old guy now and being a kid wanting to have stuff on TV, I go see everything.
Yeah.
Usually the first night, but that's sometimes not a good thing, especially like Carnage comes out. I'm like,
yeah, I don't even think I've seen any of the Venom. I've watched part of the first Venom movie. And maybe I think I would maybe like that. Dude, I'm not gonna lie to you. Granted, okay, my situation was very odd, but I was stuck on a plane. And you wanna know what movie I watched and I kind of enjoyed a lot? It's loosely maybe considered the worst comic book movie that has came out in the last 5 years.
Well, for me, that could be a few. Well, what's that one?
Morbius.
I liked it.
Like, okay. Also, one, I was on a plane, so like some of the cheesy special effects probably looked way worse or way better because I'm on a screen this big.
Right.
But I didn't think that movie wasn't awful. Like, it wasn't good, but like for watching it on a plane, I've seen a lot worse movies on a plane.
Yeah, I watched it at home. I didn't think it was that bad.
Yeah, like a lot of people hate it. I think the story was fine. I mean, it's hard when you have an actual good actor doing some of these stuff where like, yeah, maybe this movie is awful, but he's like, I'm trying to think. There was like one Daniel Day-Lewis movie that I remember like wasn't very good, but he was in it. So you're like, I guess this wasn't bad. Same with like Leo. I don't think he's ever really been in a bad movie, but if he was, his acting is so good that it's like, maybe that wasn't that bad.
Yeah, you mentioned Daniel Day-Lewis, and like There Will Be Blood wasn't for me. It was a stretch to watch, but
Oh, my brother hates it too.
his performance and especially that last scene makes the whole movie for me.
So that's like my brother hates those type of movies. He cannot watch those and he'll think that they're awful, even if he's like the end of it was good, but it didn't matter. It wasn't worth watching it. And like I sort of get that mindset, but also maybe I don't get that mindset.
Mm,
I don't know.
I can
But
see.
yeah, I don't know. Daniel Day-Lewis is just a great actor, I think. So
Oh,
hey,
yeah.
what's going on, Steve? How you doing? Happy President's Day. I don't think that you're in Canada, but if you are, happy Family Day. Yeah, I don't know. So, I don't know. We've been kind of talking for about an hour. I didn't want to keep you too long. You got anything else going on your channel that we should look forward to besides Thursday?
Yeah, I do have a video that I have to edit where I crack open slabs from the three major companies, PGX, CGC, and CBCS. I have to edit that, put that together, and I'm going to resub those three books to CGC to see what I get and if it's a bump up. So,
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah, well, hopefully it is.
Well, yeah, it's going to be cool to see. And granted, obviously, let the people figure this out when they watch it. Was it harder? I would assume that it was harder to open some than others, or were they all easy?
No. Two of them were very easy. The third one, literally, I had to get tools to open. And yeah, we'll leave that for the
Yeah.
people to watch. But
There's a pretty viral it's on YouTube actually. It's a short where somebody just takes a CGC slab. They like do that over their kitchen table and it cracks perfect and doesn't damage the book. So yeah, it's like great to see it. But yeah, I'm excited to see that. And yeah, when is it? I'm gonna be a part of it, but I think it's what March 5th. We're gonna
March
be talking
5th,
about
we
watching.
have a Watchmen read and review. It'll be Sunday. I think it is March 5th.
That's the first Sunday in March. I just pulled
First
up the
Sunday in March. It'll be 6 p.m. Eastern. And honestly, I thought maybe we can get through the whole series. We're not going to get through the whole series.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Maybe we do it differently. Are we only planning on talking the first half and doing it again? Because maybe I'll try not to cram read the end half if that's what we're doing.
Yeah, I mean, definitely for sure, probably get through the first four. Like Ignacio being a part of it, it was his idea actually.
Yeah.
But he's got probably half a pad worth of notes. So
I know that Chris from Chaos and Comics also joined late as a late sub because I mentioned reading it and he was like, "What people are talking about it?" Because he was reading it and I was like, "Maybe you should try and get in on this," because I figure he's going to have a terribly different view on this book than I have.
and I think that's going to be the great thing about it is we have all these different perspectives: people who hate it, people who love it, people who are indifferent about it, and people who've read it for the first time.
But
So I think it'll be
yeah, and I think it's one of those books. I mean, Harvard has it in the top 100 of all books.
wow.
So like it is, there was this huge thing and I don't like the guy, but Bill Maher had that whole thing about hating comic books and people that like comic books are nerd. And then they're like, "Hey, Bill Maher, here's a picture of you cosplaying as a baseball player at a baseball stadium because you're not good enough to be a baseball player. And yet you play fantasy baseball." And like just stuff like that. Like, hey, if you want to make fun of other nerds, you're a nerd. You're just a different nerd, right? And maybe your thing is more socially acceptable or was at one point. This is, I don't know. Screw you for gatekeeping people. Also, oh gosh.
F. Bill Maher.
Oh my gosh, what's that?
But
All right, I have
since
something open and there's
Mhm.
like a premiere noise. Things got really crazy over here.
Yeah.
Apparently I've got the same video open twice because I wanted to make a link to it. So those of you who are here, Cup of Comics is about to go live for his afternoon delight. So I just dropped the link in there. I had the premiere sound going off multiple times. So if you guys want to jump over there at some point, you can. I don't have too much going on. I'll probably do a most anticipated comic. I think this week, DJ Lynx might be my guest. He called people out for not inviting them to stuff. So I was like, remember that time that you didn't get invited to stuff? You want to come over to my channel and do some stuff? So we'll see
Yeah,
where
he's
that
been
is.
on that kick. Oh, I'm a hot supermodel. Nobody asked me out.
And I guess too, I mean, for me, the opposite, I'm thinking of this as the opposite, right? Usually when I'm asking people to come on is people that maybe need more help getting views, right? Like, because I could use you and you could maybe hopefully, like, I would assume that people might come to see him talk about a comic book that probably might not watch my video, but I'm more so trying to get people to watch my stuff, to watch people that do other stuff similar to that and
Mhm.
hopefully help them out, right? But so, and I think that's what the thing that I said to him. It's like, I don't think that you're an unattainable person. Every question I've asked you, you've answered me. So, like, I know you're a decent person that can answer a question, right? Like, it was funny because I was asking him about like editing help after he was on Brian's thing, and it was like,
He is the master at it. He is
yeah,
the
like
master at it.
you help me, but also like the cool thing about him too is like I'm just gonna ask you like, hey, do you have general tips? He's like, I made a video on that. You can check it out. And then I kind of like was talking about it, and he was like, I might do another one of those because I feel like when I said that, people ask me questions, and it's just it's better because then if it's Q&A, I can just be like, what are your quick tips, right? Because that was a thing. I hung out with Matt from Comics by the Bay, just
Mhm.
not live, and we were just going through it because I was like, can you walk me through some of this stuff? And he was like, this is what I do to save time, and it's just like, oh, that's really great to know that this is a thing. I've been doing something in the other program that I probably could have saved, and I was spending 20 to 30 minutes every video doing
Wow.
that now in Premiere takes me 3 seconds.
Mhm.
It's a drag and drop
Yeah,
because
and
I
as
just didn't realize that was a thing you could do.
yeah, and as a member of the Link Squad, he actually held an editing workshop.
Yeah, I was watching that. So all Link Squad members can go back and watch that. You were on it, I think. I still have it up here so I can look. Mark joined late.
Remy was on it. Yeah.
Remy was there. Yeah.
Mhm. And
Yeah, because that
all
was what he pointed to. It was funny. He said my last Link video or Link Squad video, but it auto corrected last to Lady Link Squad video. And I was just like, I thought that there was a video that maybe his wife was on. So I'm looking in his like videos for something with like his wife. Couldn't find it. But all right,
Yep.
cool. Well, hey, everyone, thank you for stopping by. If you were here late and you didn't see the beginning part, make sure you go back, leave a comment, and talk about your favorite opening line from a comic. If you don't have a comic opening line, hey, leave one for a movie too, or maybe even a TV show. And yeah, that'll get you entered into next things. We'll pull some books out of this box of random comics, or maybe next time we'll do something different. Who knows? It's all there. Hi from work. We just literally talked about you. Your ears must have rang, but
Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice,
yeah.
Beetlejuice.
And hey, Nick, thank you for joining me. This was fun. Maybe the next time that I have a Monday off from work, I'll invite you to do this with me again.
I'm always available for
All
you
right.
to call.
Thanks, bud. Bye, everyone.
See you guys later.
Oh, hashtag right on.
Oh yeah.